The story I'm about to tell you is about a simple camping trip that turned into a living nightmare. My name is Matt. I don't know why I'm still alive, but if someone ever reads this, maybe you'll know. We were four friends who just wanted one special night under the desert stars. Just one night, one damn night. It was Jake's idea. He was always chasing adventure, the kind of guy whose spark could set everyone else on fire. Tyler was the brain of the group, logical, into maps and directions. Logan was the wild card, the kind of person every group needs. Fearless, funny, but sometimes reckless. And me, I was just trying to escape the city noise. The people, myself. We set off on Friday morning, took Route 85 southbound, heading deep into a place where there were no more cell towers. Around 5 p.m., we reached the campsite. Jake carefully chose the spot for the tents and built a fire circle. As soon as the sun began to set, the air turned oddly still, like nature was holding its breath. At first, we said it was normal. It's the desert, it's quiet. But not this kind of quiet. This quiet had a background noise. Not wind, not animals. Like someone breathing, very softly, very far away. Logan said, "Something's not right here." I laughed, but there was a tremble behind that laugh. We ate, talked, laughed. Logan told a scary story from high school. The fire was crackling between us, the sky bursting with stars. Jack stared at them and said, "You know, some ancient tribes believe that the night is alive, and the stars are its eyes." At the time, it just sounded poetic. Now, I'm not so sure. Around 1:30 a.m., we went to sleep. I was the last to close my eyes. I don't know how much time passed before I was jolted awake by Jake's voice. His face was pale and his voice trembled. "Logan's gone." We grabbed our flashlights and searched the area. There were footprints in the sand, clear, steady, leading straight toward the rocky cliffs to the northwest. We walked for about half an hour until we reached a strange wall. Like nature had carved a massive mouth into the stone. A deep, dark, cold hole. The footprints ended right there. Tyler said maybe he fell in, but there was no visible drop-off. A cave maybe, but we couldn't see anything. When Jake leaned in to shine his light inside, we heard something very faint. A whisper, a murmur. A language, not English, not anything we knew. Then suddenly a voice echoed from the depths. I swear, it was Logan. He said, "Help me, it's dark, they're killing me." Jake didn't hesitate. He went in. I yelled that it was dangerous, but he was gone. Tyler said we needed help. We headed back to camp, but there was no camp. Nothing. No tents, no gear, not even footprints. Like we had never been there. Even the sand was smooth, untouched. We sat in the dark for hours. I tried using my GPS, but there was no signal. We spent that damned night in the desert. Sleepless, shaking, lost. Sounds came from the distance, howling, but melodic, like a muffled song rising from deep underground. Tyler sat near a tiny fire he had managed to light, whispering, "These voices, they're familiar. It's like someone from my childhood. My mom's voice." When the sun rose, Tyler was gone. Only his shoes remained, neatly placed in front of a small dune, like a message, a warning. In the sand, someone had written with their hand. I went after the voice. I was alone, in that hell. No water, no food, no direction. I walked for hours, maybe days. The sun burned, the nights froze. The sands whispered to me, voices calling my name. Sometimes it was Jake's voice. "Come down, it's cold here, they won't let me leave." Hallucination? Reality? I don't know. One night I heard Logan behind me. When I turned, there were footprints forming in the sand and then fading away. When the police found me, I didn't know how many days had passed. Barefoot, clothes torn, face sunburnt. But I could still hear the voices. I kept calling out to them. I told them there's a hole in the earth pulling people in. But no one believed me. They said I was delirious, dehydrated. But I know what I saw. I know what I heard. I know Jake, Logan, and Tyler are still there. In the dark. Alive? Maybe. Trapped? Absolutely. I came back, but a piece of me is still down there. A whisper still speaks to me when I close my eyes. You didn't survive. Your time just hasn't come yet. If you ever camp in the desert and hear whispers from beneath the earth, run, because they're still there, beneath, waiting. I'd be grateful if you could like the video before I continue the story. Until I saw that cursed night with my own eyes, I doubted a lot of things. I doubted there was anything really out there. I doubted the mission was even important enough to send us deep into a silent desert, in the freezing cold, just for patrol duty. But that night changed everything. My name is Tom Morgan. I was 23 at the time, a conscripted soldier. But this story, it's got nothing to do with the military. Just a bunch of young guys thinking this was another boring operation. 4 others were with me: Jason, Lewis, Danny, and Caleb. We were all crammed in a dusty military pickup, radios in hand, parked behind the sandy ridges of southern Arizona. The night was pitch black. Wind howled through dry shrubs, sand stinging our faces. We were there to test new night vision scopes and radar systems. Nothing exciting, just a job. At first, it was dead silence, except the occasional distant coyote howl. But around 1 a.m., the infrared cameras started picking up movement. Shadows shifting between the hills, slowly, silently. What was even weirder, those shadows had no heat signatures. On infrared, they appeared as solid black, not warm, not cold, nothing. Jason said maybe the system was glitching. I believed him, until Danny, using his own scope, whispered, "It moved. Wait, it just went back." We all froze. No one joked, no one laughed. Just the sound of our own breathing over the radios. Around 2 a.m., we heard the first sound. Something between a whistling wind and a whispering voice. Coming from the east. We huddled close. Radios are still working, but with weak signals. A few minutes later, Lewis volunteered to circle the perimeter. He never came back. At first, we thought he got lost, but then his radio lit up. And instead of his voice, a high-pitched scream tore through the speaker. It wasn't human, or maybe it wasn't just human. It sounded like both, and neither. Danny and Jason ran after him. I stayed with Caleb by the truck. We waited. The screams didn't stop. Sometimes they sounded closer, sometimes farther. The worst part? We started hearing our own voices screaming from far away. At some point, Jason turned to me and said, "We're being watched." I asked, "What do you mean?" He replied,
"We don't see them, but they've seen us from the start. They're playing with us."
My breathing grew heavier. The red light on my scope kept blinking. I started hearing whispers in my head, voices calling my name, familiar voices. Like my mother's voice, except something was wrong in the tone. By 3 a.m., I was alone. Jason, Danny, all gone. I still had the recording camera. I sat behind a small sand ridge, pointed the phone at my face. My hands were shaking. I didn't even recognize my own voice. I said, "We're not human anymore. There's something here. Something that takes us, changes us. If you see this, don't come here." After that, I remember nothing. Days later, a report came in. Locals had found a military truck in the middle of nowhere. No sign of the soldiers, just a single phone on the passenger seat. Battery half dead, but is still playing back audio. The official investigation found no abnormal signals, no signs of intrusion, no confirmed threats. But the thing that made this case legend, the footage on the phone. The infrared showed the shadows moving in the background. Clear, solid black. Unexplainable. The audio? Full of distorted whispers in frequencies humans shouldn't even hear. And the final voice, Tom's voice. Until it shifted. Mid-sentence, it twisted into something else. Like someone else had hijacked it, muttering words in a language that wasn't English, but it still felt eerily familiar. Something ancient. To this day, only the truck, a partially recorded message, and a single soldier's helmet were found. No bodies, no tracks, no answers. And every year around the same night, strange reports trickle in. Of radios picking up static-filled voices whispering unknown names out in that desert. As if the boys from that night were still out there. Or worse, had become something else. If you want to hear more scary stories, make sure to subscribe so we can reach 1,000 subs soon and bring you more.